Well, hello viewers. I didn't see you there. You've caught me by surprise during cocktail hour. Now, let's be honest. I actually can't see you. That's what we call a conceit. It's a thing that we both know isn't true, but we can kind of pretend that there's a direct interaction between us, even though this is pre-recorded and you're watching it at your leisure later. But it's a conceit that makes us feel like we connect. And I've gone and ruined it by drawing attention to it. But let's not dwell on that too much. We don't want to ruin the magic completely. It's Friday. Time for Totally Fucked Up Friday. How have you been? There's been, again, it's a normal week. There is so much to choose from. There is so much ridiculous shit. I could go on about Trump as per usual, because he hasn't stopped with his bullshit. My God, did you read there is, another medical report on him that's complete fucking lies? You know, they've understated his weight by somewhere between 40 and 100 pounds. And they overstate his height. They keep saying he's 6'3", but there are photos of him standing next to Obama, who is not as desperate and insecure and shallow and prone to pathological lying, who says he's 6'1", and they're the same fucking height. Trump supporters confuse the shit out of me. How you can like someone who's such a fucking embarrassment continues to completely evade me. I don't understand it all, but I'm not going to do that. I could also talk. There was an American lawmaker who stated they were arguing whether they should or should not continue capital punishment, and I shit you not, their argument was if capital punishment didn't exist, Jesus wouldn't have died for our sins, because that was capital punishment, and therefore we wouldn't be saved. So, because of Jesus, capital punishment should stay. I mean, personally, I think not only should a statement that stupid automatically disqualify someone from public office, and they should be dragged out of the parliamentary, I think they're a state lawmaker, dragged out of the State House and maybe just locked in the stocks in the public square so children can throw rotten fruit and vegetables at them, because they are clearly of no use to humans. But I'm not going to go on about that at length. I'm going to talk about Australian politics, because it's the fucking epitome of totally fucked up. I mean, hilariously, this week, the government lost a vote on their own legislation, vote on amendments to their own legislation. That's the first time that's happened in 80 or 90 years. So Scummo Prime Minister is going to go down in history as one of the biggest failures ever, which is hilarious. I mean, I do take quite a bit of joy in how badly these people are fucking up. We'll have an election sometime in the next couple of months. Unlike America, where the election campaign drags on for 2 years, the official election campaign only lasts for about a month. But, I mean, the government is wasting taxpayer money on advertising, saying how great they are now, which is a total fucking scam. That's another thing. But yes, Prime Minister Scummo will go down in history as a legendary failure, which is funny. And keep an eye out for the federal election. I'll give a lot of heads up. I will definitely be doing a live stream on election night, and you can probably safely bet I'm going to get seriously hammered with the celebration at the pasting they get. Talking in some of the live streams I do regularly, people said, we should do a drinking game, maybe take a shot each time the government loses a seat. To which I say, no, because in all probability, the government is going to lose somewhere between 20 and 40 seats. So a drink every time they lose a seat is a shortcut to fatal alcohol poisoning. And I'd prefer not to die on a live stream. I know there are some people out there who would probably be hoping for something like that, but I do actually tend, by and large, to drink in moderation. I might go slightly over on election night. Maybe I'll have a hit list, the people I really want to lose their seats. If like really take a shot if like Peter Dutton loses his seat, if what's his name, Tony Abbott loses his seat. Basically, maybe if a minister loses their seat, that's hilarious and worth a drink. But we'll see how that goes. But that's worth looking out for. Now, in a normal week, the historic nature of the government losing a vote on their own legislation. Like I said, the first time in 80, 90 years that's happened. But that wasn't the most fucked up thing that happened in Australia's federal parliament. No, that was down to One Nation, the racist shitpile, former and current members of One Nation, Pauline Hanson's party that exists solely to be fucking racist garbage. And hilariously, this is the thing that's happened. We've had all these fringe, ultra-right people try to build a party around the personality. Pauline Hanson is the highest profile one, but there's also been Clive Palmer, and there's also been the fucking Noddy up in North Queensland. And what's been the common thread is they've fallen apart. Because it's like, if you attract extreme, fringe, paranoid, conspiracy spouting, xenophobic idiots, they don't get on with other people and they all end up falling out and resigning. This is a weird thing that's in Australia's parliament, and I don't know how many parliaments around the world have this. I think it's complete bullshit. Basically, you can be elected, and the only reason you're elected to Parliament, either the lower house or the Senate, the only reason you're elected is because you were part of a major party's ticket. But after you're elected, you can go, I don't like them anymore. I'm not going to be in that party anymore. And you don't have to resign. You can sit in the Parliament as an independent, even though literally the only reason you are there is you are on a major party's ticket. I think that's complete fucking bullshit. If you want to resign from the party that got you elected, you should resign from the fucking Parliament, and your position should be either appointed or open for another election. The idea that you can ride on someone else's coattails and then go, I don't like you anymore, and not actually resign is utter bullshit. The reason I bring that up is because one of the antagonists in this story, one Brian Burston, he was elected to the Senate on the One Nation ticket, but like almost everyone else in history, the last 20 years, who's been associated with Pauline Hanson, he had a falling out with Pauline Hanson, and he resigned from One Nation, and he aligned himself with Clive Palmer. We'll see how long that lasts as well. But they all had a bit of a kerfuffle this week because Pauline Hanson made a little speech in Parliament. She talked about an unnamed senator who had sexually harassed multiple staffers, made comments like, ooh, she's upset, oh, fuck her, that'll calm her down. Hanson referred to an unnamed senator who was guilty of this behaviour and, you know, should be suffering repercussions. Brian Burston came out and said, oh, she's talking about me, but I didn't do it. Which I always reckon is an awesome thing to say. Someone puts forward a series of allegations without naming you, and you go, well, that's definitely me, although I didn't do it. It's like, okay, I'm not quite sure why you're so set on tagging your name to something and then saying you didn't do it, but you do you, buddy. And tensions escalated. He said Pauline Hanson had been coming on to him for the last 2 decades. Notably, about 20 years ago at one of their meetings at Rooty Hill. That's only funny to Australians that someone was going the grope at a place called Rooty Hill. But yeah, so she said he's been accused of multiple acts of sexual harassment. He said she sexually harassed him. And then her main advisor, a guy called James Ashby, got into an altercation with Brian Burston. And the upshot, well, 2 things with the upshot. One is now Pauline Hanson's number 1 advisor is not allowed in the parliamentary building because he had his pass revoked. He's going, no, You accosted a senator. That's bad. You're not allowed to do that. The other upshot is Brian Burston, he claimed he was bleeding. He posted a picture of what looked like his hand bleeding. That was the fierceness of their altercation. He grabbed at Ashby's phone or something similar, and he says his hand's bleeding. And that rolled on to him smearing blood on Hanson's office door. Yes, Australian politics, there's literally blood on the walls. And this is another example of what a unit Brian Burston is. When the pictures got shown of the blood smears on Hanson's office door, he at first denied it, but then he said he acknowledges it was him and apologizes, but doesn't remember doing it. I mean, who among us has not gone around, deliberately sought out their number one enemy's office and smeared blood on the door and then forgot we did it? I mean, if you let he who is without blood smears cast the first stone. I swear, if that was the actual rule, if Brian Burston stood up and said, let he who has not done this cast the first stone, he would be stoned to death pretty quickly. I'm not saying we should be stoning these people to death. That would be irresponsible. I was just making a little biblical reference in the abstract. I'm not saying we should actually stone them to death. I will point out these fucking clowns are pulling down hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayer-funded salaries, and they are acting like complete fucking clowns. And we're just meant to sit back and go, yeah, I guess that's it. This is where you get that rule, like they say, everyone there got there on merit. Really? Really? These people, if they were judged solely on merit, they wouldn't be allowed to fucking manage the ball pit in a kid's playground. Like, these people are not to be trusted in public. I mean, for their own safety. Like, they couldn't be trusted around sharp objects. Like, you couldn't let them work in food service. They'd fucking fatally injure themselves or someone else if there were any sharp edges around them. And this is like, we're supposed to respect the parliament. Why respect the parliament when the leaders of the major parties are complete fucking losers, liars and hypocrites, and the rules of the parliament let absolute fringe fruitcakes get these jobs where they have a public platform, they can influence laws, and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars, and we're paying for them. This is bullshit, and I'm sick of it. I want to get a suitably horrified thing to make a thumbnail of. I'm just going to pose for that now. Maybe I should be looking at you when I do it. I'll use one of those. That'll be good.